Hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Thank you for tuning in to the Christmas episode of the Mandala Effect, where I am joined by two of my very, very, very serious, wise friends, Helen and
wise women,
Anouska.
not the three wise men.
I know, the three wise women. I literally thought of that this morning. I was like, I'm a genius. Christmas just does something to me. So thank you very much both for joining me. Both Helen and Anouska have been guests on the podcast this year, and we've had some very deep and meaningful conversations. So that's where we're going today. Anouska and Helen, thank you for joining me. Please say hello.
Hello, everyone. Can you please at least mention that I've got a Christmas tree on my head? Because you can't just bypass it.
The elephant.
Otherwise, it's really strange that I'm just sat here with a Christmas tree on my head and not mentioning it.
No, you've got to act cool.
With a Christmas tree on my head, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've actually got tree envy, to be honest. So,
well.
I know the theme was festive, and Anouska definitely pulls it off better than we do.
Yeah,
definitely.
I've got a festive mug.
Oh, I'm just can't wait till I can swap my water for champagne. Okay, so without further ado, we have got a special episode for you two today.
What a treat.
For all of our listeners. I wanted to do a roundup of 2022 this week. My theme on Instagram and in the blog and on the podcast has been releasing 2022 and what we want to call in for 2023. Anouska and I were having a conversation the other day about how we can't wait for a new year, and we can't wait for 2023 because 2022 has been rather challenging. But it came to us that 2023 will be exactly the same if we don't make any changes. And we will be the same people we are today if we don't make changes throughout the next 365 days. So, is that overwhelming?
It doesn't sound like very much, does it? 365 days sounds.
It's not.
Short.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not at all. So I'm gonna we've got some questions that we're gonna cover about 2022, and some of them are fun, some of them are deep, and then we're gonna go into 2023. So I'm going to start with your reflections for 2022. We'll go alphabetical order to make it easy. That way it doesn't seem like I have favourites.
So,
even though she does.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Helen. What are your reflections for 2022?
I'm a favourite. My reflections this year, do you know what? This year for me has been a lot of surrendering. Are you just going to keep laughing?
Just ignore her. Just ignore her. She'll go away.
Right, I'm going to take this off a minute because I want you all to be really serious now. It's been a very serious, challenging year. I want you all to be very serious now. So, I will carry on regardless. Someone's got to run this show, haven't they?
Someone's got to run the show.
Someone's going to make it professional. So, this year, I have my main theme, I think, this year has been surrendering and accepting. That has been a main theme for me. And also, it was only the beginning of the year that we actually came out of lockdown and restrictions. And for me, I have really enjoyed the simple and small things, like actually being able to travel again. Being able to socialize again, being able to see family again. And I take that with me, like not getting complacent to what we take for granted, not taking our health for granted, not taking being able to go out and socialize for granted. And I think we get very complacent very quickly. Like we get back to this kind of what we think is normality and forget how much we wanted just health and freedom.
Yeah.
So I think that has been my reflective year of actually just appreciating that you get to wake up and take in the new day. You get to hear the birds sing. You get to step out in the fresh air, like not taking those. You get to like breathe, like you get to have your health and not taking those things for granted.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely relate to that. But Anouska, how about you? What are your reflections for the year?
I've contained myself now.
Good.
I'm in the professional mode now.
I could see it switch as well on the camera.
Yes.
I saw it.
I was crying before, and now I've locked my tears up.
I'm just glad that we're really hilarious for you, though.
I don't know what it is about Rosanna's podcast, but I always laugh through them.
It's probably just me. She probably just can't take me seriously. Right, we're not starting again.
No, sorry.
Reflections.
Right. Okay, reflections. Well, piggybacking off what Helen said, so thank you, Helen, for just prompting me, getting me.
Thank you, Helen, for giving me the answer.
You're welcome.
No, but it's very interesting that you say that, because obviously as a singer and doing live shows and things like that, lockdown, everything stopped. I mean, the only thing you could do was record music in studios, and so this has been the first year live music has really got back to some semblance of normality, and we forget that because for a year and a half no one could do anything. So this was my first year of, on many firsts, performing for the first time since I came back to London, performing my own music for the first time ever, and performing for the first time out of lockdown. So for me, it's been a massive year musically in terms of being able to kind of get out there and have that freedom again to go and sing in public, which sounds like such a simple thing, but I wasn't able to do that for a year and a half. And that was one of my purposes for coming back to London, was to do music, and I couldn't sort of do it in the way I wanted to do it.
And I mean, and I'm pleased that you have, because I've been to watch you a few times and you make me cry. If you ever need to cry, go listen to some of the music. You see her sat here laughing now. No,
you won't be laughing.
No,
she's on the other foot. I'll make you cry, but not out of
not in a joyous way. It does get joyous though. There's deep tears, and then it's like, and then it's happy, hopeful tears. Oh,
it is
exactly.
It is. It's that. Well, so this ties in really well. Your song "Use My Time" is. I basically take credit for that song because I sent the quote to you.
So you want to be credited for that?
Yes, please, if that's okay. So I'll take the credit for all of that hard work that you put into that song. And that "Use My Time" has been a huge theme for me throughout this year. This is my year where I've been rebuilding my health and rebuilding my strength and rebuilding all of these parts of my life that have changed over the last 18 months. I mean, and for me, I forget about COVID. COVID seems like a little holiday that I had. And, I wasn't seriously affected throughout COVID. Like a lot of people were, but then it's funny though, because last year I got the all clear on the 16th of December, and it was like the 18th of December I found out I had COVID. So I felt I was given my freedom, and then it was taken away again. But I've sort of forgot about all the lockdown stuff. But this has been a huge year of firsts for me as well, kind of in business. I've pivoted. I am no longer solely a jewelry designer. But then making the most of the things that bring me joy in life, that everything has just felt like amplified this year with gratitude and love, and the work that I do on myself as well, the inner work. I feel like that has I've come a long way with that this year, in that I can feel love just because, and I can feel gratitude, and I can feel joy that I've never felt before, and it's been a very special year because of that, even though it has been one of the most challenging years I've ever been through. even in different ways, but more challenging than last year. I wrote about this in this week's newsletter, was that even the mind is a funny thing, that our fears work in very strange ways. So last year I was literally fighting for my life, and this year I've been fighting to survive in a different way, and I've been more afraid this year than I was last year. It's been like, that's a huge reflection for me, is that the mind is funny, and I'm pleased that I have the tools to be able to learn how to love those parts of my mind and change them. So it's been a very, very, very interesting year, with lots of bursts and lots of, like Helen says, enjoying the simple things, like traveling. I went to Bali. That was cool.
Oh yeah, wow, that was the beginning of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and me and Anouska went to Seville, and that was amazing. That seems like a lifetime ago.
It does.
Seems like a lifetime ago. So, quick fire question then. What's your favorite memory of 2022? Helen.
My favorite memory, just a specific memory. I mean, lots of the times when I've been to Florence, I've been to New York, Washington, and I think my favorite, it's been being able to experience that and see, I saw family after 3 years in Washington. Yeah. But one of my favorite memories is we did an aerial photo shoot in November, I think it was. And I didn't realize, like, I kind of surrendered on sorry, you wanted the quick version, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite memories. It was a real kind of milestone moment for me, where I realized, like, how much I'd surrendered again, because I was so desperate to get my body fit and healthy again that I pushed my body too much, and it was the opposite effect. So when I sat back and surrendered and accepted to where I am now, and had the humility to just start again and be kind to my body and listen to my body, I'd actually, when I did the aerial photo shoot, I didn't realize how much strength I'd actually built without even realizing it, with taking the pressure off and just taking it easy and taking it step by step. And to have, like, a group of women coming together and all supporting each other, it was just such a memory for me that, like, filled my heart.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice. Anouska, what about you?
So, can I have 2?
You can have 2.
Thanks.
I wasn't allowed to, but okay, you go.
So, well, first of all, actually, as you said, we went to Seville in March, which seems like a long time ago, because it was. And that was actually a milestone, well, not a milestone, but that was a key moment this year for me, because it was the first time I'd actually left the UK since I came back from Australia.
Wow.
And so it was just really exciting to get on a plane, to be honest. I mean, I was over traveling for a long time, because when I was in Australia, I was going back and forth to the UK. So I was very happy to not get on a plane, to be honest, for 2 years. But then when by the time I got to this year, I was kind of getting itchy feet. And so when we went to Seville, that just felt there was a whole freedom that opened up. And being on the plane I got really excited about being on a plane again. I think I should have been a pilot.
Still time.
Yeah. Well, no, because I don't have 20/20 vision. I've already looked into it.
Oh, that's a shame.
I don't think I can be a pilot. But if there's any pilots watching, if you need a co-pilot.
Yeah, who doesn't need 20/20 vision.
I mean, she doesn't know how to be a co-pilot, but she'll sit in the plane with you.
She'll sing, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter that I can't see perfectly, because you'll be doing the flying.
The driving.
Yeah.
Anyway, who flies planes anymore? It's like it's all autopilot anyway, so I just press a button. That's all I need to be able to do.
Oh, great. I would feel really safe getting in the plane.
Yeah.
But the other
landing and taking off.
Yeah. It's all
wing it.
Watch out, I might be flying.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
But the other thing would be performing my own music for the first time. I mean, that was just like, I can't even put that into words, because I'd never even written music before lockdown, and then to actually start performing it live. So in February, when I did the first show live with the strings and everything, that was incredible because I'd never done it before, my own music. So that was probably the other milestone.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, of course. I mean, so okay, for me it is traveling again. Traveling and spending time with friends and family, I think have been mine. There have been lots of weddings for me this year, which has been nice.
Not your own weddings.
Not my own weddings, no. I mean, I would love
multiple.
I would love to have 3 of my own weddings in a year. You could break a world record with that, I reckon. But there have been lots of family weddings, and I've had lots of firsts this year, kind of, but like, in fact, one that's just come to my mind is when I had my hair cut in January. I had my first haircut. It was like baby's first haircut. And so that's quite a sweet memory, because I was, I was like, right, my hair's growing again. I can go and have it cut. And they made me feel really special. Just things like that. That the moments that made me feel special and alive. And that I've been very grateful that there actually been loads of them. Of course, I walked up, I did the 3-peat challenge on the 1-year anniversary of my diagnosis, because I can't just go and celebrate with a beach holiday. I have to go and do something ridiculous.
That's what I do.
It was really painful. Oh,
just to suffer a little bit more, because you've not suffered enough.
Yeah. And Snowdon. So my idea was that we'd summit Snowdon, see the sunrise on the day of my diagnosis, but it was sideways rain. It was absolutely freezing.
Wow.
It was disgusting. I was like, just get me off this fucking mountain. I just want to go down. I just want to be warm. So anyway,
I had a similar experience climbing mountains.
Oh, really?
Mountains plural. It was one, and I just feel like I'll never do that again.
It was one. It was a hill.
It was one. It was a big.
It was just hill. Surrey Hill.
Box Hill.
Oh, Box Hill, is it?
Okay, so moving on then. What changes are we making in 2023? Anouska?
Well, I mean, the theme of, we haven't really talked, because I was in a bit of a silly mood at the beginning, which is probably my ego's resistance, in all honesty, because I tend to go silly. That's been my thing. This year's been very challenging. I've had to confront many shadows this year. So I think next year is really, or even now, to be honest, I'm already doing it, but it's really about not buying into the ego's fears, because fear is just false evidence appearing real, but we buy into it like it's real because it feels real in the body. And that's what I've really been confronted with this year, like feeling the fear, but having that higher understanding and awareness of it, that it's not real. It's just this illusion that we all buy into. And actually, when you stop buying into it, then you're really kind of free to step into your real power. But it's when we buy into that fear, we actually create more fear. We create more of what we don't want. So I think it sounds really simple in practice to not buy into the fear when you're in a fearful place. But, I think that's been a really massive thing for me, because I've had to confront a lot of shadow stuff this year.
Yeah. Okay, and so your changes for 2023 would then be confronting more of it?
Well, I think not necessarily confronting it. I think now it's just, I think this year has been a real kind of face off with myself. And next year it's now I kind of, it's like, as a child, and I was like this. I would always like check under my bed before I went to bed, because I thought there was like a scary monster. And of course there's no monsters, but as a child you think there's a monster. And it's like now knowing, Anouska, there are no monsters. It's just in your mind. So it's having a new kind of relationship with the fear. And that's what I will be taking with me. It's like, I can feel that the fear in my body, but it doesn't mean it's real. Just like a child believes there's a monster, but there isn't a monster.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Helen, how are you going to follow that?
Do you know what? mine follows on from Anouska, because I've actually wrote it down. I feel like showing you the evidence that it's there. Because mine was stepping into my power and showing up more. Because I feel like, especially stepping into my power, that I feel like I've learned so much and I have so many tools to help me. Like, it is hard being a human sometimes, having intense feelings, and I feel things very intensely, which is amazing when that's joy, but I suffer when it's the opposite, when it's the,
Sorry,
you know, the just laugh.
Sorry.
Great coach.
But yeah, she's good, and she just laughing like that.
Laughs everywhere, just
laughs like that. I really, really suffer, and she's crying, laughing. Good. I'm glad you are. But yeah, I do suffer from the other side of it, and it is hard. But I have a lot of tools that help me reconnect to me and reconnect to my power. And I coach, but I'm not always sharing them on social media or doing a talk or doing a course or something. And that's what I want to step into more, like do that.
Yeah.
Which is scary, which is terrifying, because you're at risk of rejection, humiliate people laughing at you.
Oh.
Jokes. You're at fear of it, but so what? Like, so what? You're stepping into your power, and it's really going to help someone, and someone's going to connect with you. So yeah.
And also, I would say, sort of kind of based on what I said too, that it's only the ego that fears that. The true self can't be rejected, can't be humiliated.
Exactly.
Can't be laughed at. So it's remembering who we are. And I think most of the time we don't know who we are, or we forget who we are. And I think that's kind of what I didn't say, but what I was kind of implying, it's having a different relationship with those negative feelings, because they aren't who I am. That's just ego stuff.
Yeah.
It's feeling it as well, like just feel it and not buying into the stories. Like mine, I know we've talked about it before, but mine that creeps up is feeling unlovable. But that's just a primal fear of being rejected. So that feeling of being rejected and being abandoned and being pushed out of society and community is like, I can then put a load of story and evidence to that to say, yeah, well, I'm rejected because of this, that, but it's not. It's just a primal fear. It's not actually real, and it's not true. And as long as we don't abandon ourselves, then we're never abandoned. So it's about reconnecting to like who we are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I'll piggyback off both of you and what they said. You know,
no wonder you got us to go first.
Yeah. If they said something good, I'll say the same. And I mean, for me, it's all about stepping into my power. Sorry, when you two were both talking, he was sat eating the Christmas tree. So I was like trying to play it cool, like Russell from that Christmas tree. So yeah, for me, definitely I've had a year of facing my shadows and facing my fears and understanding that those fears aren't me, and that they're not, they're not who I am, and actually who I am is pretty magical. So stepping into that more next year, trusting myself, trusting my intuition, tapping into the intuition more, and actually kind of stepping away from what I think should happen, from what I think I should be doing based on what is happening around me, like based on society and what we see on Instagram, because it's also important to remember that a lot of that isn't real as well. None of it's real.
None of it's real.
How deep are we going to go in the next 10 minutes? So for me, again, stepping into that, the power of, who I know I can become and who I know. And I'm really excited for next year, now that I feel like the end of this year is me really stepping into myself as a coach. And, it's like I've been preparing all year for it. And now I'm taking that step into the new year with in a completely different place to where I was last year. kind of from a like a business point and health. And one of my goals for next year is to be able to do a headstand on my own. So, and then you never know, maybe I can make money doing that.
Yeah, maybe. But I wonder what you'll learn doing that, like having the challenge and what comes up for you and what you think about yourself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's all so interesting.
It's never about the handstand, is it? It's about the journey of doing it.
No, but I like it. Looks
cool.
Cool.
Getting your legs in the air.
It looks cool.
We did acrobatics yesterday, actually, at our Christmas aerial class, which was it was so much fun that we got to play like and actually do handstands and like support each other.
That does sound fun. I'm going to come to your aerial class.
You should. It's brilliant.
I mean, it's a 2-hour drive for me, but you know.
It's so worth it.
Anouska, you look like you were going to say something.
I've forgotten what it is now.
Okay, all right. Well, in that case, we will move on. I don't know if either of you do this, but do either of you have like a word or a mantra for a year that you kind of stick to? I see it. It's a bit of I see it in some of the self-development space, and people have a word that kind of sticks with them.
Do you know what I do? It's not necessarily like a word or a mantra, but it's something that I tell people to do and I do myself, because I think it is so normal to get distracted. We are surrounded by people, places, things. We're humans. We're going to get distracted. And something that I always do is wake up. So something will wake you up, whether that's you realizing I've just gone in a distraction, I'm having an argument with someone I've never even met, or I'm solving a problem that's in the past. And then all of a sudden you're like, where did I go? And you come back to this moment, and it's wake up and welcome yourself back. Because I think what happens is when we come back, we judge ourselves for being distracted, or, oh God, I've done it again. Like I can't be present. It's like, welcome yourself back with no judgment. And that's it. And it's something, it's so simple, but it is so effective, because all we want to do is come back to this moment, because that is all we have. So welcome yourself back with compassion and non-judgment.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know how we follow that. Anouska?
Well, I don't really do mantras or anything like that. No, I don't. I mean, I'll just be honest, I don't really have a mantra per se. No. I mean, maybe if I'm in a yoga class or something, but I think my kind of sort of what Helen was saying, but not exactly. I think my big thing from this year, and something that I will be taking into next year, is to feel whatever comes up emotionally. Yeah. So kind of like, you know, what you were saying in terms of being present. Not something I ever really did before, because my coach always used to say, you've got to sit with your feelings. And I never really knew, what do you mean by sit with feelings? Like, what does that even mean? And having now been following this other lady, Kim Duramo, I'm a bit more now aware of how to do that as well. And actually, it's just feeling the feelings. But that doesn't mean they're real. This is the thing. So I think where people get stuck is they feel the feelings and then they think it's something to really be afraid of. But you can feel it without being afraid of it. And that's been my journey this year. I can feel the fear without buying into the fear. The fear isn't real, because the true self can never feel fear, can never be rejected, can never be abandoned. So it's just coming back to that. So I think that is something, if I was going to have a mantra or something, that would be it, just to kind of keep bringing myself back to whatever I'm feeling, even if it's really uncomfortable. Has been this year, to allow myself to feel it.
Amazing. And
it's just feedback as well, isn't it? It's feedback of where your minds are. It's not like, oh, I'm not living life properly, or I need to change or fix something. It's just feedback to where your mind is at.
Well, and
go on.
No, I was just going to say, and the other thing about this is when we do step out of our comfort zone, all the shit hits the fan. It's going to hit the fan. So this is what I think holds people back, because they take that step out and then all this stuff happens. They think, oh, I'm not meant to do it. Let me run back into my little cave. But actually, it's knowing that when you do step out, the shit is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
You are going to feel uncomfortable. You are going to feel fear, because the ego doesn't want you to leave your comfort zone. But I think if we make it wrong, then we just come back. And I think that's the other thing, as my coach says to me all the time, if things are uncomfortable, that means you're on the right path.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable, you're in ego and you're not doing anything, you're staying in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and something that your coach actually said the other day as well was the path of least resistance isn't the way.
Yeah.
It's not the way, because we're just going it, like we're just staying in the comfort zone, and that we're never going to grow in the comfort zone. I think that's something that the three of us are very good at, is stepping out of our comfort zone. And Helen, I can't wait to see you show your face more next year.
Thank you.
Do your monologue.
And do your
monologue. Just do monologues every day, a monologue a day.
Yeah, you should.
No, I'm not doing that.
So if Helen's waking up and welcoming back, and Anouska, you're feeling, I'll take both of those, and then
what we say.
And then top it off nicely with reminding myself how much I love life, and how much there is in life to love, and living a life that I am in love with, and that is accepting all of it, not judging any of it, and being grateful for everything that is there. So I think that's my sort of like little mantra for next year, is I love my life. Nice. Because ultimately we're in, our life, we create our lives. So if we don't love it, then we're doing something wrong. So so that's how I top that off. That's a great little toolkit there, I think. Okay, really quickly, because we are running out of time. So
we're never running out of time,
because time isn't linear. I wrote this in my newsletter as well. I think I probably blew everybody's minds, and everyone's probably unsubscribed.
Well, go on, we have only got 1 minute left on this.
Yeah. So
even though time isn't real, but carry on.
Even though time isn't real. Okay, so message to the world for 2023. Who's going first?
Helen.
I think give your soul space, because if you just give your soul space and stillness, everything is there. There's peace, there's the answers, there's love, there's joy. It's when we don't give it space and we think that our mind is going to solve the solution, is suffering and it's painful. And sometimes we just need to step back, meditate, journal, walk in nature, however that is for you. Give your soul space so that it can free itself and be free.
Yeah, I love that one. You can tell she prepared that one.
No, well, this is...
It's my mantra.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off Helen. It's kind of similar, but different. Follow your heart, which sounds corny, but having been following Dr. Kim Durama's work this year, the heart is incredibly intelligent. It has neurons similar to the brain. It's got a lot of intelligence about it, and we dismiss it as something kind of woo-woo and silly, and follow your heart. But actually, when we really listen to our heart, we will never be wrong. It's the problem is the ego comes in and says, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be spending that money, you shouldn't go in there. But the heart always knows the truth. And it's trusting that heart, even if the ego's freaking out and saying, you don't have the time, you can't afford it, who do you think you are, blah 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 blah. So I think the more we trust our heart, the more joy we're going to experience in our life. Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say as well that like we are not our thoughts as well, because like when you say when we go like there we go. I could read your mind there.
Telepathy at its finest.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then what I would like to tell the world is that you do create your life, and and by following your heart and following your bliss, you're gonna create more of that life that you love, and if you have desires that come from deep within your soul, within your heart, something that you know is meant for you, like trust it and go for it, and that is when your life will start to change. it's important to know the difference between a soul desire and an ego desire. Because egos will be based on fear, and I'm not good enough if I don't have this. And then there are the soul desires. So just my message would be, get to know your heart and get to know yourself, and know and embody that you create your reality.
And also, oh my God, it's so cute.
And he's probably about to bite me. Okay,
Attack you.
So any last words, both of you?
Stay open to the magic. Like, just because something hasn't happened doesn't mean it won't. And have fun. Like, sometimes we have to lighten up and, you know, just play with life. Like, you'll find your way. Like, just trust that you're going to find your way.
Life doesn't have to be serious.
No, it's like enlightenment is lightening up.
Yeah, as long as because I do think sometimes we use humor as a defense. This is a whole other topic,
as you know.
As I know. No,
as you know.
And it's very British to use humor to avoid feeling. So it's a balance again between everything's a balance. It's like, am I using humor to avoid feeling, or am I using humor to tap into more of my creativity and joy? I was just going to say, as another point, that you don't have to know the how. The ego says you have to know how. I want to start a business. Okay, you need to know 100 things before that can happen. You don't need to know the how. Just take that first step and the path will be revealed. I think there was a great quote by someone, but I can't remember what it is.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
What a great note to end on. Thank you both so much for joining. Thank you everybody for listening. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
If you would
We've
like
got
to
a live
learn
performance with Anouska.
What's that?
A live Merry Christmas with Anouska.
A live Merry Christmas, yeah.
And if any of you would like to learn more about my two extra wise women, me obviously being the number one wise woman, if you would like to learn about my two friends, I will place their podcast episodes from this year in the description below, and the links where you can connect with them on Instagram. So thank you very much for joining, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.